Okay, hello everyone and welcome back once again to another session of F1 Manager 2022. This indeed could be the last race of the season, although I'm debating whether to auto-resolve, if you will, the last race, just so that we can get all of the celebrations in and stuff. Because already technically we've won the constructors, and one of our drivers, of course, we're going to be winning the drivers' title as well. So it'd be kind of a shame not to see what happens with that. So we might have to auto-resolve the last race as a kind of an epilogue. I've literally got until 7 PM this evening, and it's now 5:30, so I've got an hour and a half to get this done, which means that this session is going to be a cut to the chase kind of situation. It is a live stream in case you want to drop along and say hello live, but I'm kind of treating this as a recorded session, if you will, so not too much flim-flam today. But anyway, if you are joining live, welcome. Hope you enjoy. This is a full race weekend because we do not I have not prepared the practice and the qualifying. So how am I going to cram that into an hour and a half, and the race alone takes that long? Well, first of all, I'm going to have to use a bit of fast forwarding. But for the practice and the qualifying, I'm going to do something that I've never done before, and that is I'm going to simulate all of the sessions to see how the AI treats our vehicles, our drivers, and the practices and things, to see just how badly or how well simulate works, because we're used to practicing really well, getting setups pretty high, getting track acclimatization very high. We're also used to qualifying usually on the front row, if we don't forget to change our engine parts, but hey. So that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully that'll allow us to finish this session before I want to dash off to football. Right, so here we go. Expected strategies for this race. It's a two-stop race, which is kind of counterintuitive to auto-simulating practice, because practice tends to use... Oh, no, this could be good actually, because auto-simulated practice tends to use the soft tyres, which will be fine, because then means we will have 2 sets of mediums spare. Hey, let the AI deal with it. It's not for me to worry about. I have made my bed, so I shall lie in it, as the saying goes. Everything is done, so it's just a case of getting to the race weekend and cracking on. Hello Cham, hello Hercup, welcome. The day has been good. I've been to work, the sun is shining, the rain will be coming in 2 days, but I got a lot of stuff done at work today. I was very productive. I sat down and cracked on. So I've come home with a nice clear conscience that tomorrow I've got an easier day. It's a manager's meeting for most of the day, so not much work and a lot of talking. But I'm also taking my mother to a second... I don't know if I discussed this with you guys. Have I discussed this? But anyway, I'm taking my mother to a second endoscopy appointment because she had an endoscopy because of a potential liver issue, cirrhosis of the liver. So she had to have an endoscopy as part of that. And then she went for further tests, CT scan and things, and then that brought up a blockage issue in the bile duct, which she went for an MRI scan for about 6 weeks ago now. Told she would be getting the results within 4 weeks, and then she got within a week, and she got them 4 weeks later, and then the results were inconclusive because they couldn't see anything that was causing a bile duct blockage, but the bile duct is apparently partially blocked because it's, I don't know, there's something wrong with it anyway. It's swollen up or something, I don't know. So she has to have a second endoscopy to see what the hell's going on. So poor mother's been prodded, poked, cameras shoved down, scans all over the place, and I'm taking her there tomorrow. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, but anyway. But apart from that, so yes, that's that little situation. Hopefully everything's fine. And we could just get to the bottom of it. In other more positive news, I booked my holiday to Amsterdam yesterday, so we are off to Amsterdam for my mother's birthday in early September. She's never been before, and I am treating her to the trip, so hopefully that will take her mind off things a little bit, although she hates flying, so you have to fly to get... We don't have to, but we're flying to Amsterdam, so she's going to have to put up with the flight at least. But just think of the fun we're going to have when you get to Amsterdam, Mother. It's fine. Tours around the canals it'd be lovely. Tours into the coffee shops, if you want a bit of cake and coffee, of course. What else would you be doing in a coffee shop other than drinking coffee? I ask you. Nights out on the town? Mother rocking it in the wheelchair in the clubs of Amsterdam. You betcha. Pushing her down the red light district, of course. I'm in control of the wheelchair here. Anyway, right, I digress slightly. So that's in 3 weeks' time. It was a very last-minute decision. Like, should we go to Amsterdam for your mum's birthday, said my friend. Yeah, why not? It's not as if we've already been on a holiday this year already, and to Amsterdam, and we're off to Mexico in November. Yeah, let's just chuck another trip in there to make it 4 for the year, why don't you? Anyway, much earned, I'm sure, from all of us. Right, refurbish for 4 million. Jesus H. Christ almighty. It's expensive. Right, evening Ollie, welcome. Welcome. I'm away in Florida at the end of August to middle of September.
The carnival atmosphere has already started here in Sao Paulo as
10-hour flight, I find 9-10 hours just about palatable. Any more than that, I'll be a bit apprehensive.
Soon we'll once again be watching the best drivers.
You can watch a couple of films, have a nap, have something to eat, and you'll be... Look at the weather forecast for today's, or for this weekend. Oh, this is not conducive to auto-resolving or conducive to skipping through bits of the race. Oh my god. Okay, I kind of did say that we're going to do it, so we're going to do it. Right, so basically car parts, engine parts, we're just going to keep the... We're going to put the engine parts in that are knackered to conserve them, because I don't know what the AI will do here. We'll use that one because this gearbox is slightly better. We'll use that gearbox for the race. Car setup, we're going to leave it to the AI. Run plans, leave it to the AI. We're going to leave that to the AI. Everything to the AI apart from the car part situation. Put the old knackered parts in. That's fine. Let's put the knackered ERS in. Both pretty knackered at this point, aren't they? And put the slightly more knackered gearbox in as well for you too, Mr. Norris. Right, okay. Is PC all okay? PC seems to be fine. I opened it up. Because I've got dust filters on this case, dust doesn't seem to gather inside the PC like on my old computers. You know, old computers, lots of dust, coughing and spluttering as the dust flies out of the machine. There's not a lot of dust inside the machine. To say I've had it for two years, or is it 3 years now I've had this machine? I got it in, did I get it May 2020 or May 21? I think it must have been May 21. No, it was for my birthday, so I remember getting it in May. Anyway, I think it might be 2 years. So, considering I've hardly opened it in 2 years, you'd expect it to be chock full of dust, but no, because of the case is pretty good with dust, there wasn't that much dust in it. But I did blow a bit of dust out of the graphics card, out of the cooler duct, cooler thing that's clamped to the fans at the front. So I'm hoping that that's fine. I think it was an overheating issue yesterday, to be honest. The encoder on OBS failed first, then the game started lagging, so it was definitely a graphics card issue, and then the graphics card fans were running really fast even when I shut the game off for a good 15 minutes afterwards as well, so maybe a slight graphics card issue. That being said, I'm quite tempted. I know I said I'm not going to be doing a lot of flim-flam today because of the time, but I'm quite tempted. Not just yet, because holidays that I spent up on new cars and things. But I'm kind of tempted, maybe for my birthday next year, which is another 6 months away yet. But swapping this graphics card to one of the newer ones. Whatever will be out at the time, 40, 80s, or maybe even different ones. But keep everything else the same, because the processor's pretty good. Everything else is pretty good, 32 gigs of RAM and all that kind of jazz. Quite happy with the case. So it would just be the graphics card, I think, that I need to upgrade. So I might do that next May and kind of sell this one to offset a bit of the cost, you see. And that might solve any potential future issues. Sell it, it's a bit knackered, but don't disclose it on eBay. I wouldn't do that. Don't be silly. Right, okay, practice 1. We're going to simulate all practice sessions as disclosed, as discussed. Anyway, what's this question? A bit off topic. Dwight, welcome. Good evening, sir. How are you? A football and F1 man. Will you be tuning into the Rugby World Cup in September? Not really a rugby man, must admit. Look at all the penalties people are taking. That's probably for new engine parts. I think the game's gone a bit ham with the penalty situation. But anyway, we qualified in, or practiced in 6th and 7th. Of course, there will have been variable weather conditions, so it's probably to do with the fact that we maybe went out at slightly the wrong time. Or maybe we didn't, I don't know. But anyway, it's only practice. Oh, and we've got knackered engine parts, and that could be the issue. But anyway, how did they do? Car parts, fine. Track acclimatization, it's not too bad. Setup confidence, needs a bit of work. Keep going. Right, second session. Let's have a look at the tyre compounds. What did they use? A couple of soft tyres used, which is fine. Let's see what they used this time. I've never done simulation, so this is all kind of interesting, really. Simulate this session as well? Of course we will. Why wouldn't we? Perhaps we should have been doing this for the entire series, I don't know, but I'm quite anal when it comes to simulation games, and I don't like to skip things, as you will probably know if you've watched me long enough. Don't like to speed through or skip things or anything of that nature. Right, okay, so we've got 73% track acclimatization. Setup confidence is getting a little bit higher. Bonus is not as high as they could be. AI,
After a day of free practice,
would you care to be a bit better, please? The AI can't get it perfect, because if the AI got it perfect, there would be no incentive to do it yourself, would there? So the AI is never going to be as efficient as you. Let's see what they do next. What tyres have we got to use? Because it was a wet session, I think it must have been an entirely wet session, which means that we don't have to give back any additional tyres, because we use the inters, and so that therefore that must have been fine. Right, P3. One last simulation. Okay. Third and fifth, that's fine. Lots of penalties. Even if we qualify in P6, we'll probably be on pole because of the amount of people that got penalties. Anyway, how did it... Oh, look at that! 800% track acclimatization. It's the setup confidence that the AI seems to struggle with. We can live with that. We can live with that. That's perfectly fine. Right, what we need to do now is remember to switch the car parts out. So the best engine that we've got left for ERS, bearing in mind that all season we haven't bought additional components. And the reason why we haven't needed to is because of the way we practice, you see. Because when we go to our practice and do our practice, if you remember, we always, well, as you've seen, we always put the old parts in. We always run the cars in conservation modes. Ask them to avoid the curbs and all that kind of stuff, and that preserves the life of the parts for practice, which means that we've got much more life in the parts for the rest of the season, and we've never had to buy any additional parts this season at all. So that's all good for you. Let's go over here and put all the best parts that we've got left. In Lando's car too. I've got a sneaking suspicion we're going to struggle to finish this in one sitting. And he's got a 75% life gearbox left. I mean, that's pretty good going for the penultimate race of the season, considering we haven't bought any new engines. Right, okay, so we are fitting inters from the start, so it seems to be wet from the start. Lando got the better practice time, rather strangely. But anyway, let's start the qualifying. We're simulating here. We're simulating all the way through. We're in the lap of the gods. Or the AI. Hey, the AI is the future. Apparently. You can do AI with a lot of things nowadays. Want to write your CV? Yeah, let the AI do it for you. What? I'm a share fisherman? I didn't realise. Extensive background in origami. I think the AI is bugged out here. Right, okay, we qualify in P1 or Q1 in 3rd and 6th, which means that we get through to the next stage. That's fine. So we aim for here. Right, soft compounds is the order of business now. Let's simulate this session. Need to get into the top 10. Should be easy with our car. 3rd and 7th. Getting stuck in traffic, perhaps. Who knows? But that's... Notice that we've never qualified or practiced in the top 2. Could be to do with the fact that we haven't developed our car for a little while, and the AI maintaining their development kind of path. That could be the issue. Alternatively, AI could just be rubbish. Right, final runs. What tyres have we got available? We've got one fresh set and a couple of used sets. We've got 2 sets of mediums. That's good for the race, for our 2-stop strategy. Same with Lando. Yep, pretty much. Okay, let's go. One last simulation. Now it is time for us to get the front row lockout. Surely we've been holding back on the pace just to deploy it all in the Q3. Let's see. Alright. Yes, we have. Oh no, Max hasn't got any penalties. Okay, so Max is on pole by a 1/10 of a second. Second was Sergio Perez. So the Red Bulls have suddenly had a bit of a resurgence. Remember, sort of 6 to 7 races, maybe 5 to 7 races ago, the Red Bulls seemed to be losing a bit of pace. Wasn't it the American Grand Prix where they were kind of lagging behind a little bit? And then the last couple of races, poof, they're back up on pace again. The Ferraris seem to have dropped a little bit. Anyway, so we would be on second with Norris, who was out-qualified Hamilton here in a very, very, very rare showing. He has to do, because he needs to crack on for that title. He needs Lewis to finish outside of the points, ideally, and he needs to win the race. So Lando is going to have to pass Max at some point. Race is scheduled. Rain, rather, is scheduled. Penalties galore. I'm not even going to try to decipher that grid. We'll see what happens.
It's race day.
It's race day. We know the strategy. It's 2 stops. But is it 2 stops? Because rain is coming. It could well be 3, 4 stops, depending on the weather. It's going to be a rain occurrence round about like 35. Right. How many laps can these hard tyres do? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. Can the hard tyres do 35 laps? Because if they can, we're going to start on them. Let's do a C strategy. Let's delete stops here. So let's go hard tyre. How many laps can these buggers do? And then an inter tyre when it starts to rain. Round about lap 30. Ooh, that's close. That's close. It's like 35, isn't it? And this is without conserving, by the way. So we could conserve it. If we go quite light, it gives us a bit more to play with, doesn't it? Well, the question is going... But that's kind of... We could do that with neutral. Neutral on the hards, no pit stop. Bring in the cars for 1 stop, straight onto inters, which could last... Well, the inters last as long as they do. I think we're going to chance it with both cars. This seems to me to be a good strategy. So, strategy A, let's go with this. Just cocked up here. Right, intermediate. Hard compound here. Round about lap 35. We can't really be too aggressive. It's literally right on the cusp of the life of the tyres. We'll do that with... kind of want to split the strategies as well. Hamilton is going to play it more conservative. This is a bit more of a conservative strategy. It's definitely going to work. We have to eke out the tyres, but he's good at that. So he's going to do that. Lando, who's has got nothing to lose really, is going to be a bit more bold. And he's going to do a different strategy. And what tyres have we got with Lando? No, that's the wrong thing. We have got a kind of a used set of softs. Which probably won't do a lot of laps. But, hear me out folks, we're doing a strategy that is completely and utterly out there with Lando. Because it doesn't matter what Lewis does really. Lando, I mean it doesn't matter what Lando does really. Well it does. I forget what I'm saying. Alright, so 72 laps. We're going to put an extra lap of fuel so he can push harder. Of course we're going to push both cars off the line. So he's going to be able to push for longer, whereas Lewis is just going to go with his standard 71 laps of fuel. And that means that so he's going to be conservative. He's going to be aggressive, right? Compound tyres. Let's go for the strategy. Let's go for the editing. I'm going to put on a set of softs that are going to last us not a lot of laps. We're going to come in round about lap. Is it worth it to do a very short soft stint? I don't think so. I think what we do is we do medium, medium. Medium, medium rather than that. We do 10 laps on the soft. No. We do kind of 21. No. Kind of 18 laps on the soft. On the medium. And then we're going to go to, well, roughly when the rain comes, which is about there, on the second set of mediums. So we can push the mediums hard. Two stops on the mediums, then a stop on the hard. A stop onto the inters. Sorry, that's confusing me. There we go, like that. So medium, medium, inter for Lando, with pushing all the way, pushing the tyres, pushing the engine, push, and with Lewis conserving on the hards, nice and steady, extend the stop, and then don't push at all. And let's see the difference of the two strategies. Let's see how this works out. This could be a lot of fun. Wrong button. Bear with me, I was trying to mute myself because my mother has just come home. So bear with me a second. Sorry about that premature end there. Tyres will be knackered, yes. Right, we've got literally an hour and 10 minutes to crack on with this and get this done. An hour and 15 if we push it. But there we go. Two different strategies. Two different circumstances. Let's see what happens here in a rainy Brazil.
As the sun continues to shine,
here we go.
It seems like nothing can dampen the mood of excitement.
Here we go, folks.
Who will win? Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. You're leaving now.
It's
in your eyes.
Away we go.
There's no disguising it. Okay, we're off and racing here with our lead car, which is Lando Norris, into the first corner. The chicane in one of the very few anti-clockwise circuits on the calendar. Right, we're on board with Lando Norris here. So Verstappen manages to maintain first position. Norris in second, Hamilton on third. Of course, we're going to have to be careful with Hamilton not to take the life out of these tyres too soon, because he's in driving like Miss Daisy mode. We're going to turn down with Norris. It's all happening. It's all happening.
Just be careful with this tyre.
It's all happening. Looks like Hamilton is overtaking Norris. This would be bad for Norris. Norris needs to get past Verstappen and needs to start pushing on into the sunset, because he's having an extra stop here. And if Hamilton would have got ahead of, I thought that grass there was going to be the cause of an accident. Yes, if Hamilton had got ahead of Norris there, that would have been quite detrimental to his race, because there's no team orders here, folks. Okay, so we have Verstappen, Norris, Hamilton is the first three at the end of the first lap. These laps are quite short. It's about 1 minute and 12, 1 minute and 13 probably for a race lap. Let's have a look outside the vehicle here and see what's happening behind us. We've got Carlos Sainz in P4, we've got Alonso in 5, Vettel in 6, Bottas 7th, Leclerc in 8th, Russell 9th and Magnussen 10th. After all the penalties, with Perez at the back of the grid with his penalties. Long race ahead for him. Don't know how easy it is to pass on this track, but if it's easy, it's good for Norris. If it's not easy, it's good for Hamilton, because he can just tuck in behind and conserve, get the DRS and extend the life of that hard tyre. It's Norris that needs to pull away. He's got an extra stop to do, and he needs to get past Verstappen quite sharpish. Just saying, because if you don't, you could be in trouble, sir. We can afford to push the engine, of course, because we do have extra fuel, of course. I completely forgot about that. Giving Norris complete and utter push order here as he tries to weave his way past Verstappen. DRS is now enabled, and that should indeed help his cause. Let's ride on board with him to see if he makes it past. The World Drivers' Championship is not decided yet. Hence why we're here. If it was decided, the season would be, or the series would be finished. So it isn't decided. The Constructors is though. If you meant the Constructors, that is definitely decided. Right, we're off. We are off. We are overtaken. Verstappen here. Oh, we haven't.
Okay, mate. Nice.
We haven't yet. Verstappen is not ceding his position without a fight. And would we expect anything less from the hyper-aggressive man? Of course not. Let's deploy. Let's put a bit of deployment down. Chop him up. Just chop his wing off. It's fine. He's not giving up, is he? He is not giving up without a fight. But we make it past. We're into the final corner first. But will that open up Max Verstappen to get DRS? Let's take a look. I think it will. I think it will. There it goes. You can see it open now. Will it be enough? Will it be enough to get past? I think Norris has got it covered, and hopefully now we'll put a little bit of distance between ourselves and Verstappen, although, as we've seen, that Red Bull is looking mighty quick. Sainz has got past Hamilton by the looks of it, and Hamilton, oh, but not yet, not without a fight. Hamilton is now fighting back.
Yeah, don't sweat it, Lewis. Don't sweat it.
Don't sweat it. It was a DRS pass. Maybe he'll get DRS, but don't worry. We're on the right strategy. Anybody else on hard tyres? Probably not. No, exactly.
Ferrari, advance the race position.
Hamilton could be in prime position when that rain comes, when we haven't stopped twice, we've stopped only the once. The question is driving in this manner on hard tyres quicker than stopping doing medium? I think it is. Looking at the pace that Hamilton's got at the moment, I think this is working out quite well for him. Sector 2 incident. We've got Leclerc slipping through the field like a stone.
Here's the replay. Watch this. There's Leclerc.
And Leclerc just completely bins it in the middle of a simple corner.
Yellow flags where you are.
That's another thing I think with this game, is that they have people spinning off on parts of the track that in real life you would just not spin off on. Like, in real life, would that happen? Going round in a queue round a simple corner like that, would that happen? No, come on, let's be realistic here. So I think that's another thing. Some of the accidents are a little bit silly. Some of them are really spectacular and really good, but some of them like that, yeah, not rare. If it was wet, don't get me wrong, if it was wet, fine, but not in the bone dry. Anyway, this is Lewis Hamilton trying to get back past Carlos Sainz. It looked like he squeezed him off the circuit there. It looks like he squeezed him off. Verstappen going purple.
This is awesome work, Lewis. Come on.
And Lewis is back past. For now, Sector 2 incident. Looks like now Bottas has...
And McLaren with a great overtake.
Well, something's happening, and I can't keep track here. There's Norris. There's Norris.
I think we've had a car run wide.
Who's actually used all of his ERS because we forgot to turn it off. Which is quite worrying because he's used it all, and yet he's still less than a second behind Verstappen. Verstappen is showing some mighty speed here today. That Red Bull has come back. If this was at the start of the season, you know, Red Bull could be onto something here, but they've been a bit tardy for most of the season. As we have Sainz and Hamilton battling side by side, we've got Norris and Verstappen battling side by side. This is proving to be
and Ferrari just
a closer race for the McLarens than they've had for some time, but it is, as I said, probably due to us not developing our car probably for the past 7 or 8 races now. And we've also got Fernando flipping Alonso in this mix. I mean, where did he come from all of a sudden? Bottas is falling away, but Hamilton is dropping behind the Alpine. So again, this is all to try to extend that stint, make sure we make it to the rain. You may even have to go conserve a little bit as well. So he's just playing the patient long game right now. Just get the DRS, let that pull you along. Ultimately, whilst these guys are going hell for leather here out in front, they're probably, well, Norris is completely flat out. And I doubt that Verstappen is. Yeah, Verstappen isn't flat out at the minute, which makes me wonder if they're going to be one-stopping on the mediums too, and just playing it a bit more cautious. Safety cars would significantly help Hamilton and would significantly hinder Norris. So if a safety car comes out, Norris could be screwed. No, I'm not waiting for Playtail to finish necessarily. When this race finishes, I'll start Three Kingdoms. When this series finishes, I'll be starting Three Kingdoms.
McLaren
Maybe not completely straight away, as in the next day, but certainly within a week. So that's the plan. So if this was the final race of the season because Hamilton wins the title, I'll do an epilogue session where we auto-resolve the last race of the season to get all the celebrations, and we shall then crack on Monday with Three Kingdoms, more than likely. Will there be an RP element? Maybe. Can't confirm for certain because I don't know the mechanics of the game very well, but if I'm playing the game and think that an RP element would be very well received and would work well with the mechanics of the game, then we could feed it in at some point. So yeah, these two racing very hard, racing very hard. I would have to say that the Red Bull is definitely the faster car, because we're pushing hell for leather with Norris, and that Red Bull, which probably isn't pushing like this, is ahead of us right now and is managing to keep with us as well. So this is not looking glorious, and it's making this two-stop look a little bit more of a risk right now. But anyway,
McLaren with a great overtake.
Hamilton doing the biz, just doing what he needs to do, playing cat and mouse with Sainz and Alonso.
Currently yellow flags.
Schumacher's spun on turn 12 here.
Yeah, it was a good job.
Baldur's Gate Sunday. Three Kingdoms maybe Monday. Have I done any research on the game yet? Have I played the game a little bit to get used to it? No. Did I intend to? Yes. Am I busy this weekend? Yes. Will I get much time to practice Baldur's Three Kingdoms before Monday? Not really. I'll have a bit of Sunday. I think I've got a bit of time on Sunday. I'm at a barbecue Saturday, but Sunday I've got no plans other than football. So I think all day Sunday, literally all day. I know you did. And I had it in my calendar to do. I planned to do it, to watch videos. I've got tutorial series that I started to watch. And every time I started to watch it, I ended up falling asleep at my desk because I sit in the wrong position to soak information. I sit with a cup of tea, with my feet on the desk, reclining back, put the video on before I know I'm asleep. And I can't remember where I finished off. And then other stuff happened, life, and then Baldur's Gate came out, and here we are, very close to the start of Three Kingdoms, and I have watched a grand total of about an hour and a half, and I've not played the game at all myself. Don't matter at all. I can be up to speed with what I need to be up to speed with in a day, easily. And it's a live stream, so if I'm not sure of any features, I'll just ask you guys. Live. What does this button do? Yeah, very good. Right, let's press it. Completely fine. Okay, we're on lap 11 of 71. Norris and Verstappen continue to battle to battle hammer and tongs. I mean, if this was real life and the racing was this close for 11 laps, they would be going wild. The commentators would be wetting their pants. Everybody would be screaming about how awesome this is. Because literally, they are. You can just picture both drivers flat out, so close together, switching positions. You know, it would be quite the scene. But yeah, I think for perhaps, apart from the start of the season, this is the first time in a long time that we don't have the quickest car. I think the Red Bull is quicker. And we're having to now utilise all of our powers to hopefully try to come out smelling of roses from this little battle. Right, Norris needs to stop pushing the tyres, probably about now.
Just be careful with this
And
tyre.
we're going to now stop pushing the fuel for a little bit as well. And now we're just going to go in
And save fuel from now.
normal
Save fuel
mode
from now.
and see where that gets us. Hamilton driving round with those hard tyres, nice and steadily, is only 4.5 seconds behind Verstappen here. So this is looking very good for Hamilton. Let's have a look at the tyre life situation. 78%. These medium tired runners aren't making it anywhere near the wet stuff. The soft tired runners, completely ludicrous as to why they got soft tyres on, although I did consider that, so it's maybe not quite so ludicrous. But anyway, let's have a look at the last laps. 1:33.5 for the front two, a 1:13.1 for Hamilton. He's actually gone quicker on that lap. He's the quickest man on the track. And he was 0.3 quicker on that one. He's gaining on the front two. And this is probably the longevity of the hard tyre beginning to kick in. Alonso's a bit quicker there, though.
Red Bull moved up.
This is rather interesting. Keep an eye on that gap. It seems to be coming down. Because football is on, I'm having to make sure that it's not cancelled as we continue on. Yeah, 3.6 seconds is that gap. This gap is coming down, which is very, very bad news for Lando Norris. He's kind of stuck in a bit of no man's land now because he has to stop again. Everybody else in the race has to stop again too, so it's not completely lost. But the man who seems to be on the perfect strategy right now is this man in third position. As the front two continue. Bottas a further 5 seconds back. Vettel is right to the back of him. The Mercedes were looking so good for the past 2 or 3 races. Russell even won a race. And this race, back off it again. I mean, this is true in real life. Certain tracks suit certain cars better than others. You know, some cars really fast on one track, but on another track, nowhere. Okay, pit window entered for Norris. This is his first pit window. Very early indeed. He's coming in with the soft-tyred runners at this point. These tyres are more worn than the soft-tyred runners at this point. we're getting a decent slipstream and a decent bit of DRS from Max Verstappen. So whilst we're getting that, our pace should still be decent. So we'll utilise that for now. As soon as we get out of the second, then we'll pit. Or when this gets to like 35%.
McLaren gain a position.
Alright, so it is actually getting almost close to being outside of a second, but not quite just yet. DRS will open. Let's ride on board for a change. Let's get a bit of on-board action here as Lando Norris in his World Championship winning car. Constructor's car, that is. Trying in earnest to cling on to the back of the Red Bull, which is a strange thing to have to say this season, considering how dominant we've been, but yeah, we have definitely slipped behind the curve a little bit with the development for this season. So we'll have a little bit of an epilogue session, I think. I'll do it this weekend where, as I said, I will auto-resolve the last race of the season, hopefully get all of the kind of grandeur of victory, champagne bottles flying, bit of confetti, you know, the board waxing lyrical about Potter's achievements, all that kind of jazz. And then we'll fast forward, I think, through the pre-season, because I kind of want to see where our car is in terms of pace for next season, because we haven't developed it now and we've only done a little bit of research, so the car next season could well be sort of third or fourth fastest. I reckon maybe about third behind the Red Bulls and the Ferraris. I reckon we'll be starting next season. Right, Lando is now behind by more than a second, so we're going to pit him in for a second set of medium tyres. This set of medium tyres we're not going to be quite so aggressive on.
Box now.
We're going to be a bit more conservative to start with, maybe
happy to
push
box it, yeah.
towards the back end of the stint. I think we burnt through these tyres maybe a little bit too quickly, although we are on cue for our strategy, so it is what it is. But Hamilton is just living. What's it? Hamilton driving off the circuit there. It's a very strange line the AI takes on that corner. F1 23 could be. I mean, I'm not forced to actually do it at all. If it's very similar to this, I mean, without too many changes, is there any merit to enduring another 2 seasons? I'll get the game and play it off camera first to assess the situation, but we'll have to see. And if I did do it, I'd probably not do it in quite the same format as this, as in every race full distance kind of situation. I might do it in a form of maybe like a highlights package. Like if you watched highlights on Channel 4, kind of like that. You know, keep sessions to that,
Okay,
to be
understood.
about 45 minutes of real key
And
highlights.
just remind you, use the pit limiter in the pit lane.
If I was going to do it, that's probably would be the way I would do it. But anyway, we got Lando Norris in the pits, coming in for a fresh set of mediums. He's going to need those bad boys, and they should take him to the rain. But the unfortunate thing is that he's in P11 right now. Some of these cars ahead of him will be pitting again, yes, but
Yeah, don't sweat it.
we shall have to wait to see how he now fights his way back through the field. He's in P11, P12 as he's almost has his wing knocked off by a Haas. He's going to have to now make his way through the field because he's now on fresh tyres but in slower traffic, which is not going to be
And McLaren with a
great
overtake.
for his race. Now Hamilton is in just cruising round, so all our attention now is going to be on Norris, and we need to orchestrate his progress through this pack until all these cars begin to pit. So this could be rather interesting, and of course whilst we're pinned in behind these cars and no doubt being slowed down by them, this doesn't bode well for our gap to Verstappen, who's in clear air, because we're not able to utilise our fresh tyres. Although with a nice drive off the final corner, DRS, engine pushing, we should be passing this car. It doesn't look like we are passing this car right now. So that's a shame, but we get another dose of DRS down this straight. It's a shorter straight, but nonetheless, will we get a better drive off the corner? Will we get to make it up the inside? I think we will. Push, 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 up the inside. Keep pushing, because the AI seems to like to defend its positions. Nope, we're past. We're past. We're past, and we're en route.
Doing a good job so far.
And it looks like we've got Tsunoda driving off the circuit there. That is not the correct line to be taking round that corner.
He's gone wide.
Indeed he has. Indeed he has. Right, here we go. That puts us right onto the back of Tsunoda. We need to get past Tsunoda. So again, we're going to give Lando all of the toys that we can. And hopefully we'll be able to get past him without too much of a fuss. We're a lot closer than we were to Vesti at the same point. We have a top speed issue, of course, which is part of our problem, I think, in passing cars. But we have got a pace advantage over this Williams. We're going to have to sweep it round the outside of the first corner, which we completely and utterly do without too much fuss. And let's turn that back down again until we get to the next car to pass, which is the Red Bull of
gain a position.
Perez, who's must have made his way through the field, or alternatively, all the cars behind him have stopped. Which I don't think that's the case, is it? No, so Perez has actually made some decent progress through the field, because remember, he was at the back of the pack at one point, so that proves to me that this circuit isn't too bad to pass on. He's finding it much more tricky to get past Daniel Ricciardo, though. Hamilton, 6.6 seconds behind Verstappen. Verstappen yet to pit. Will he be pitting before the rain with 51% tyre life? Maybe not. Are they going to be able to eke out the tyres to get to the rain? I think maybe. It's going to be touch and go. It's going to be touch and go, but we'll see. Gasly's pitting. Gasly's pitting on medium tyres. So these are medium tyred runners that are now pitting, actually. So that makes me believe that actually everybody will be pitting at least once before the rain, apart from Hamilton. So this is good. And they're putting on a fresh set of hard tyres there. Vesti's put on another set of medium. No, Vesti's not pitted yet. Vesti's getting onto the hard tyres too. So that's... Perez seemed to be overtaking somebody from the pits there. Did he just drive past somebody in the pits? Overtook on the pit lane? Strange thing to happen. Right, Norris is past Daniel Ricciardo as he continues to scythe his way through the field with those fresh mediums, which he completely has to do. Verstappen is now in the pits, so let's ride on board with Lando Norris as he tries in earnest to get past Verstappen, who is in the pits. Has he had his stop yet? Yes,
has pitted.
He has. Norris is speeding down the pit lane. Verstappen coming round to the first corner. Norris is not going to do it. So Verstappen has made it out ahead of Lando Norris, but not by much. 2 seconds is the gap. So we've got the gap to it's 2 seconds. I think we pitted when we were about a second behind. So we've lost a second overall in that little bit of a shindig. But nonetheless, it'll be interesting to see if we can catch Verstappen in clear air. It's not looking like we can. I doubt it. I doubt it. Riding back on board with Hamilton. Completely and utterly in cruise control. So both of our drivers right now are in clear air. We've got Norris is ahead of Leclerc, behind Verstappen. Hamilton just making his way to the rain. So what we're going to do, we're going to two-speed it. We have to do this, otherwise I won't get this finished before football. So we'll two-speed it until we get into a situation where we need to manoeuvre our way past people. But Verstappen is still in second. Norris is just about keeping within touch at the moment. Sainz and Leclerc seem to be battling. As Leclerc...
Got a car stop on track.
has completely gone off the track as we were just literally looking at him.
Yellow flags where you are.
Which is rather interesting. Magnus has also crashed. I don't want to see that one, I want to see this one. What happened to him? I think he just missed his braking zone, went off. But has he got any damage? Doesn't seem to have any damage. Oh dear. Sums up Leclerc's season. This is still currently the world champion of last season. Not really covering himself in too much glory, is he? Not at all. But anyway. Has Leclerc got the number 1 on his car? He should do, because he is the world champion. But does the game instigate that? Looks like he's got a number 1 on his car. Which is pretty cool, I've only just noticed. Yeah. Look at that. He's a world champion, so they put a number 1 on. Mick might replace Logan at the Williams after the break. Oh really? So anyway, back as we were. Leclerc must have had damage because he's gone into the pit, so he must have damaged something in that little jaunt off the circuit. So we're riding on board with Hamilton now, who's just trying to ensure that his tyres last until the rain, which they should do. I think we can actually even push them a little bit, but we won't for now. So Hamilton is just cruising round. 9.2 is the gap. So yeah, Verstappen you would expect to be closing. He's on fresher tyres, medium tyres, softer compound, fresher tyres, much fresher. Norris is falling back a little bit. We're going to now push a little bit more with Norris. Just give him a little bit of push on the engine, on the tyres there. We've got a bit of play on the tyre life, as you can see here. If it starts to rain round about here, we've got a little bit of tyre life to play with. So we're going to start pushing now, see if that gap comes down or not. 3.2 seconds it currently stands at. 3.3, so even with pushing, it's proving to be difficult to keep pace with Max Verstappen, who's got the gap down to Hamilton to 7.5 seconds. Now don't forget, Hamilton only has to stop once when it rains, and Verstappen has to stop again. So Hamilton is actually 7 seconds ahead of Verstappen on pure position right now. Verstappen will have to pass Hamilton on the track to win this race unless Hamilton has an incident. As things stand, he is closing quite quickly, but will the rain come before he passes us? The rain is not due to start for another 4 laps or so. No, 7 or 8 laps actually. In that case, I think Verstappen will be catching and passing Hamilton. Hamilton can afford to push those tyres a little bit, so we will push them a touch, push his engine a little bit more now. Nothing too major, but just for a couple of laps or so until we get to that kind of rain window. Norris is still at 3.2, so even if he's pushing like crazy, that is only enough for him to keep pace with Verstappen. Not to catch him, but just about cling on to him. As soon as we turn these down, he's going to... I think one more lap of this will be fine. I think he's going to fall back again. Hello, Shelley, welcome. Every race is an important race. What are you talking about, sir? But yeah, this could be the championship decider. Right, Norris coming round, and then back to standard we go. As Verstappen has closed that gap down to Hamilton to a mere 4 seconds here. This man, as much as we hate to say it and have the words come out of our mouth, is absolutely on fire here today. Yeah, I'm at football, literally. I need to be setting off to football at 7 o'clock sharp. So I got 35, well, I've got 25 minutes if you want to factor in the time for me to actually put my football clothes on. And that reminds me, I haven't washed my football gear. That's a bit of a problem. Completely forgot to wash my football stuff. No. I'm going to have to cobble some kind of makeshift kit together, because I'm not going to wear old smelly kits. I'm going to have to wear something else. God. Oh, shit.
Rain is expected.
Confirm.
Okay, let's carry on. Oh dear. Verstappen
We've just had a spin.
2.3 seconds behind Hamilton. You think my inventory management is good? My real life management was as good as my inventory management. I'd be doomed, surely. I have good intentions with inventory management. Does it ever work out? Okay, so Hamilton is now completely caught by Verstappen, but the rain is coming very shortly. So both these cars will be coming in for inters roughly at the same time and this close together. Are we going to get a Hamilton versus Verstappen battle? Proper battle for one of the rare times in this championship. I'm going to turn this now down because the rain's coming. Okay, so when they both come out on intermediate tyres, we're going to have a Verstappen-Hamilton battle in cars that are very close in performance. Just like 2021 all over again.
Red Bull gained a place.
I mean, Hamilton, of course, doesn't have to win the race. Just has to finish in the points, really. Norris has to win the race, and given the pace of Verstappen, that's not looking likely right now. So rain is coming in about 5 laps time. No, 3 laps time. Put it up again then. Hamilton has got like 10% life of tyres before they start to drop off significantly. His fuel is marginal. Norris is fine on his tyres. They're going to start to push those now again. We just entered the pit window for our strategy. That's fine. Give me rain. Give me rain on my track. Keep it raining.
Yeah, fine.
Give me rain on the track, I pray. Right, we're on board with Hamilton. Do we pit now or do we wait? Let's have a look at this. It's going to get wet quite quickly, but is it going to get wet? Because it's already at 1 millimetre and we've barely moved. Is that going to be wet weather? That could be. I think this is into weather. Because it's going to be, even if it goes to full wets, it's not going to be that wet for that long. I'm going to bring both my cars in now. Take the early advantage here. Early advantage for both cars. We can stack them because there's a decent enough gap. Oh, 4.6. It's quite tight.
Fabulous. So we'll box.
Well, thankfully, there's no errors with pit stops in this game. So it's fine. There is in the new game. Good to see. One of the things that I mentioned before about pit crew being perfect in this game. Right, okay, good. Let's go. 2 pit stops. Wet weather is here. Intermediate weather here. And Verstappen, is he going to pit? No, he's not. Yes, he is. Damn. That means we're not going to get any advantage because Norris is staying out. No, he's not. He's coming in. Had a bit of a shock there for a second. Okay, here comes Hamilton. Let's have a look at this. Norris is coming. Norris is coming. In and synchronization at its finest. There we go. Poetry in motion. Verstappen is going to be out in first. Hamilton is now going to be hot on his heels. That's it now to the end of the race. Unless, of course, we need to switch to wet weather tyres for the last kind of stint. That's going to be the question. Should we finish on inters or do we go full wets? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to find out. Let's have a look at the tyre strategy here. Will these tyres make it to the end? Strategy view there. But it's not saying. It's saying that these tyres are not going to make it to the end. But the inters tend... Mind you, that is a lot. That is half the race distance though. So Do we conserve these? Because if the weather's changing around about lap 65, it's kind of about there. So if we conserve the tyres a little bit, we can go into the wets for the last stint, especially if everybody's going to have to pit again with both of our cars. That could be the question. Do we conserve these tyres a little bit so that we can take it right to the end where the wet weather starts to come, have a very last stop on the wets, splash and dash as it used to be called, the old splash and dash strategy. Sometimes they used to come in for pit stop and just put a little splash of fuel in to get them to the end, really short stop. We could try to outlast everybody and take these inters to the end. That is a good point, but I think almost like we have to make that decision now. So if we can't catch Verstappen on pure pace, which it's looking unlikely because Lando and Hamilton are very similar in pace. So if Norris hasn't caught Hamilton, could have caught Verstappen on the first stint, Hamilton won't be catching him on the second stint. Which is a depressing thing to have to say after the season we've had, but this is the nature of the beast. So I kind of think that we're going to have to try something a bit different then. The track is now drying up. Quick, let's put some dry tyres on. No, of course not. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. What do we do? Do we conserve? Get these tyres to the end without another stop? Everybody else might be taking a stop. We're talking the difference of about 10 to 11 laps, I think.
Sounds like someone's locked up.
About 10 to 11 laps at the end is going to be key. So I reckon what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of conservation. Not too much, but a little bit. To just extend the stint a touch and then put the wet tyres on at the end. Hopefully the other drivers push their tyres a bit harder and then go onto inters earlier and finish on a wet track on inters, so that when we go onto the wets for that kind of 5 or 6 laps, hopefully we'll be making up so much time, we'll make up more time than we've lost by going easy on these tyres maybe. Or we could split the strategies again. Have Norris go really conservative in a role reversal and have Hamilton be a bit more aggressive on these. Well, we're losing time to Verstappen, so we've got to do something. We ain't going to win this race on pure pace. Right, we're going to go... I've completely and utterly cocked up with Norris because I've been pushing his intermediate tyres, so that's probably screwed him over a little bit. But I think with both cars we're going to try the strategy. We're faster than the cars behind, so we've got nothing to lose by doing this actually. We're going to try to conserve these tyres, get them to the wet weather coming, and then stick the wet weather tyres on round about lap 65 for a bit of a punt. And hopefully the other cars will have pit for fresh inters at some point, and we shall see if that will work in our favour to grab victory at the last second. Wouldn't that be amazing? I doubt it. I think we're going to lose too much time, but it's all about making sure that we take these tyres to here with some degree of life left. So we just need to get above the curve, or the line really, a little bit, and then we can go back to normal mode, if you will. So right, now that we're in that kind of situation, as you can see, Verstappen 3.9 seconds ahead of Hamilton, who is then a further 5.4 seconds ahead of Norris. Sainz 11 seconds back. The field is completely strung out, which is quite a rarity because a lot of the races you see we have this kind of DRS train going on. Not a train to be seen here today, hardly. Completely, utterly strung out, which is good to see. Right. Let's go a bit quicker. Oh, and Norris has had a bit of a jaunt off the circuit. It's gone from bad to worse here. Not only is he behind the World Championship leader when he has to win the race, not only is his car not quick enough to catch Max Verstappen, he's now gone off the circuit and he's now 11 seconds behind Hamilton. That's for him to win the title from here. It's going to need a miracle. It needed a miracle to start with, but this has really put him on the back foot now. Completely off the circuit there, and the wet weather not good at all. Meanwhile, Hamilton continues to bide his time. He's been in conservation mode for most of this race. Conserve your hard tyres, Lewis. Okay. Conserve your inters, Lewis. When can I actually drive quickly? We're playing the long game. Oh, we're doing that, are we? Okay, I'll trust your judgment. Yeah, we're playing the long game, trust me. I'm the head strategist. My name is Mr. Potter. Verstappen, considering we're conserving, Verstappen seems to be also not doing too badly on the tyres. We've got some people on 92%. Is conserving these tyres doing anything for us? We're 0.8 of a second slower than Max Verstappen here. I'm not so sure. I think no matter what we try here today, I think we're doomed to finish behind Max. I'm almost getting pangs of real life here. Must be so frustrating being sat on a pit wall.
That's a spin!
Knowing that your car can't do a damn thing about the car ahead of you. The driver knows exactly the same. I can't go any quicker. It's just physically impossible to do anything about it, other than pray for an incident or that they get a massive strategic blunder. It's the kind of situation we're finding ourselves in right now.
Oh, big lock up there.
Cars locking up, going off the circuit. It is wet, so I think I have noticed in this game that when it is wet, you do get more incidents, which again is quite good. Good to see that. Drivers are obviously prone to make more mistakes in the wet conditions. It's one game of football this evening. It's a league game, so it's 28 minutes. Just enough time to run around, you know. Get a sweat on, and then come home for your tea. Knowing you've done some exercise today. I was supposed to do some exercise before football as a warm-up, but clearly that's not going to happen now. Chose to stream instead. If there's a choice between streaming and doing exercise, well, it's a no-brainer, if you ask me. Are we actually conserving these tyres at all? A little bit, compared to Verstappen. The only car we care about is Verstappen. Track has changed to wet, but it will start to dry, so that's fine. It's not too much of an issue. This is the perfect race for this exact scenario, aka one where I'm going to go to football afterwards, so we have to finish the race at a reasonable hour, because if this was a race where there was lots happening and crashes all over the place and safety cars and you know, cars right close to each other, we would be struggling. But this is cars strung out nicely, not much happening in terms of overtaking. Mick Schumacher's testing the weather on wet weather tyres. That's not a good idea, because the track is going to start to dry. Has anybody watched or played the new version of this and can give me an update as to how the AI handles wet weather in the new game? Do they still do stupid strategies like we see here? Yeah, we're almost a second a lap slower than Verstappen. And that's because we're conserving our tyres. But then our tyre is the same as his, so you would almost argue, is he conserving his tyres too? Or does conserving inters make no difference? I don't know. I don't know at all. By the time we get to the potential wet window, we're going to be that far behind. It's not going to make a blind bit of difference. Norris is potentially going to be caught by Sainz. This is all because he went off the track as well, so it's his own doing. But let's have a look at Sainz's tyres. His tyres are 78%. It's not looking like conserving is doing too much. But I mean, there's a long way to go in this race, so maybe, you know, we'll have a 10... Oh my God!
Let's take a look at the replay. Now let's watch this. The Alfa Romeo involved in this one.
Okay, an incident. Could that be a safety car? That could.
The team are really disappointed.
That could
with
be a safety
Let's
car.
hope it doesn't set them back too badly.
If it's a safety car, we're pitting with one of our cars. I can tell you that for certain. Must be a safety car, yeah?
We've had a big crash here.
No? Virtual safety car? Nothing. Nothing.
Got a car stopped on track.
Alonso is back. Oh, look at his car. His car is going to have to retire that vehicle. No, Bottas has got moving too. No safety cars here. I'd have potentially come in for a fresh set of inters with one of my cars had that been a safety car. Probably Hamilton, because he's got a bit more of a gap. And they could have taken him to the end of the race more comfortably. But anyway, as it stands, that was a major incident there. Alonso wiping out Bottas, serving his penalty, putting on a fresh set of inters, and off they go. Round again. So Hamilton has got a car behind him, but that must be Leclerc, who he's lapping. Unless Leclerc is now unlapping himself, which could be the case, as we are conserving our tyre life. Norris has now got the Sainz right behind him. But again, we're playing with both cars now the long game, if there is such a thing. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. How's the tyre wear graph looking? Does it say that we're going? Yeah, look at the tyre wear graph. The tyre wear graph is saying actually we're going to finish this race. I think that the inter-tyre graph
Ferrari, advance the race position.
isn't completely accurate when it comes to intermediate weather. I think the inter-tyres last longer than the graph shows. I think. From memories from previous races, I think the inters and the wets last a hell of a lot longer. Which makes me think that we should be probably going back to standard now with both of our cars, because they're probably going to make it quite happily to the wet weather period. In fact, all the drivers' tyres are probably going to make it to the end at this point. At 71%, Hamilton 74, 71, 72, 75. Still 21 laps to go. We've had these inters on since lap 35, so we've done 15 laps, near enough. 15 laps and 30%, so that's 2% a lap. So let's do the calculations here. So the rain's coming at lap 65, call it. That's another 15, that's an extra 30% tyre life, which would take us down to about 40%.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
Which is touch and go for another stop. But then they've got another 10% to come off because there's another 5 laps to do before the end of the race. So that'll be down to 30%. It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. As to what to do here. Well, either which way, we're making it to the wet weather quite happily at this point. So, So Norris has got back ahead of Sainz. So Sainz overtook Norris. Norris is now back ahead of Sainz. And Hamilton is 11 seconds behind Verstappen. Got a 16-second gap to Norris. So Hamilton's got a free stop almost to come in for those wets. when the time is right. Norris has kind of got a free-ish stop. He'll lose one position, but Perez is quite far behind there. So I think coming in for the wet weather tyres with both of our cars is probably a viable strategy. Even if we give a bit of aggression, I think we'll make it. Let's put a bit of speed in for a little bit. This is an awkward situation. Not easy to fathom out.
Was that a lock-up on the
We're
track?
literally right on the cusp of strategies, it seems. Could be fun at the end if people are on worn inters trundling around a wet track and we come for fresh wets. Could be interesting. You've got to think that the AI are coming for wets though, because the AI, as we've seen in the past, have come in for wet weather tyres on the last lap of a race when leading it. Carlos Sainz, remember? In the Dutch GP, when it made no sense for that to happen. So if the AI is stupid enough to do that, they're probably clever enough to come in with 5 laps to go for a set of wets and make it look like a genius strategy. And it's just the AI being very simplistic, following Martin Brundle's philosophy of right tyre, right time.
I think there's been a lock-up.
Ah, my foot. Right, okay. So we've got 16 laps to go of this race. The wet weather is coming. Round about lap 65. Get ready, folks. The drama could still ensue. Right, let's turn that down. And that. And we're coming into pit, so we're pushing these tyres now. We're screw this, we're pushing these bad boys. We're pushing them hard. It's now time for us to put the speed into our motion. But as we can see, I think this is, as you just said, Hurt Cupboard, championship over. I was about to say it. I think it's clear to see that barring any incident to Hamilton now, which is wet weather, so it could happen, that this is championship over. He's fought hard as Norris. He's fought hard. He's fought to the bitter end pretty much. He's forced the championship to go down to close to the wire. So you've got to give him his props. He's probably learnt a few things from the more experienced teammate, and he's got some good pace. He qualifies within a tenth of Hamilton most times. So future world champion, of course he is. In the seasons that lie ahead that we'll never play. And then, speaking of Lando in real life, he's definitely got World Championship credentials. Just needs a decent car, which he's got now, actually, funnily enough. Needs a bit more still to get to Red Bull's level, but they've made a great progress. It'd be interesting to see how they carry that on to next season. Uh-oh, what's happened?
They've locked up and gone
That's
straight on.
a lock-up from a car that we give no concern to at all. Right, let's keep pushing. Let's keep going. How's the tyres looking? Okay, so tyres are beginning to look like we need to just turn them down a bit. Just turn them off. No more pushing, please. Let's get these tyres to lap 65 if you don't mind. Especially with Lando. I think we might have pushed Lando's tyres a little bit too hard there. Let's give him a bit of conservation for now. Still managed to maintain his position ahead of Carlos Sainz, so he's done really well here. Russell made his way up to P7. Perez has made his way all the way up to P5 from the back of the grid. This is a fantastic achievement. for Sergio. Leclerc, on the other hand, not quite so good. Bad day in the office for the Ferrari there. But here we go, we're at lap 60 now, so 5 laps time. We're looking for that rain to start to bucket it down. We're just looking to put on those wet weather tyres and to hope that the AI try to eke it out on those intermediates to the end, although I'm seriously doubting that they're going to do that. The best outcome for us is if they come into the pits right now and stick on another set of inters. That would be the perfect situation for us, because they'll have stopped and they'll be on the wrong tyre at the end, whereas if we stop and put the right tyre on, we're going to be in a really good position. Holy cow, this could be a championship
now watch this.
deciding decision here. Holy hell, the pressure may be getting to him. He's just gone off.
Devastated. They'll be questioning.
Oh no! This could be leading us to a championship decider. Right, okay, let's just get the focus here. Holy cow! What the hell? Lewis, what are you doing, you fool? Right, we're going to have to take him to the end on inters. Fresh inters, it's not wet enough now. He's going to have to hang it out on the wet track with inter tyres. Self-inflicted. We have to fix the wing. We're replacing the wing. Must be replaced. So we are replacing the wing. Holy cow, that is a major incident.
They've crashed out.
Lando Norris is coming. Okay. I think somebody's being an utter... I want to swear, but I kind of feel like somebody's spoiled a game for me here. Yep, somebody has decided to spoil a game in a different game. That's a new one. Well done, Kevin. Thank you very much for that. Right. Although I did call that, to be fair, in the last... Was it the last session I mentioned that? I think it was, so... But happy days. The pitfalls of doing this kind of thing occasionally. What happened? Nothing happened, Cham. Nothing at all. We're not going to discuss what happened in case you didn't see that message. Therefore, you haven't been spoiled, but I have. Right, let's carry on. So what we're doing? We're coming in for fresh... Just a crash happened. Yeah, just a crash. Coming in for tyres, changing his wing. Right, Lando Norris is going to have to eke these tyres out to get us to the wet weather.
So box.
He needs as many points as possible now, because Hamilton might not be getting any. Hello, Crazy Canuck, welcome. It's already 5-7. We're going to have to finish this race in 2 speed, I think. Time is flying away so quickly from us. Hamilton out on fresh inters. A new wing, hopefully. He hasn't lost that much position.
Back in the rhythm now.
We had such a gap that he might still be okay. He might still be fine.
Oh, and Ferrari just gained a place.
Okay, I think Hamilton might be all right. As long as he keeps it on the green stuff, on the grey stuff, he should be fine.
Understood.
A bit of deployment of the ERS too. Right, here's Norris.
Increase in lifting coast.
Right, they're back to 2 speed again now, because we need to get these laps done. I have to dash to football in like 5 minutes, start getting ready, and we have a bit more laps to do yet. But we need to be careful. We need to bring Norris in at the right time. Hamilton is going to have to stick it out on those inters for the last 5 laps on a potentially wet track. We've got lap 65. 2 laps to go for Lando Norris. He's just got to Just got to make these tyres last. I got a sneaking suspicion the AI are bringing their cars in right as the weather gets really horrendous. Russell's coming in now. Is he going to put wet tyres on? Or another set of inters? Where is he? Where is he? He's putting inters on. That's what I mean. If the AI come in before the rain buckets it down...
So we are low on battery at the moment.
Right, that's fine. Keep pushing. Right, pit, pit, wet weather tyres, pit, go. No! 2 speed.
That sounds like someone's gone wide there.
Okay, folks, so we have a current situation as follows. Verstappen is in P1. He's on intermediate tyres. The rain is bucketing down. Is he going to come into the pits now and put wet weather tyres on? No, he's not. He's sticking it out. This could be interesting. Lewis Hamilton, Sainz is in second place. He has got tyres that are inters, and he is not anywhere near the pit straight yet. He's 33 seconds behind Verstappen. Verstappen can afford to dance around this track on ice skates at this point. Norris is going to be coming in for wet weather tyres in a hope that that's going to get him a miraculous race victory, which is looking unlikely. And Hamilton has got fresh inters on after his incident and just has to finish on the just finish where he is with a 48 second. No, this is the wrong split. I'm looking at the intervals. There you go. 10 seconds to Perez. So interesting indeed. Oh, this is so... what's going to happen? Unfortunately, we have to watch it in such a great pace, but Norris is now coming in. He's going to put those wet weather tyres on. Here we go. Here he comes. He's got an Aston Martin behind him doing the same. I mean, if Verstappen comes in this next lap, he'll be fine. There we go. There's Norris. He's on the right tyre now. The track is getting up towards wet. I think 4 millimetres is classed as wet, isn't it? So he's getting there. Perez is coming in. Perez has put on inters. The track not getting quite wet enough at the moment. Hamilton is there. He's got Norris at 16.8 seconds behind. So we can see the gap. There you go. It's now changed to wet. It's going to get a little bit wetter and then a bit drier. So maybe this weather forecast was a little bit, I don't know, maybe a bit wrong. This needs to get up to about 6 millimetres for Lando to reap the benefits. The gap is coming down. It's coming down to Hamilton, but not significantly enough. The inters are doing the job. Verstappen, let's have a look at him. Is he going to be coming in to change his tyres? I don't think so. 4.5 millimetres is not wet enough. It needs to be 6 millimetres. Multiple cars have crashed. A safety car right now might just give it to Lando Norris. He is on the better tyre. Oh, it's a safety car. Hang your hats, folks.
No overtaking.
Hang on to your hats. We have a safety car. Hamilton could well get a very cheap pit stop here. Very cheap pit stop. Do we even want to be on inters here? It's going to rain a bit heavier. Oh my God!
Got a car stopped on track.
Oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? What tyres is he putting on?
Crash here.
What tyres is he putting on? Whatever he's putting on inters. The AI don't usually make a mistake here. We're putting wets on. The track is drying, but it is due to rain a bit heavier. Or is it? It's difficult to discern. I think it's the borderline. It's cusp. It's the cusp of... Do we put Hamilton on... It's a free stop. We could put him on fresh inters, or we could put him on wets. I don't think it makes a massive difference. I think we'll try wets. We'll just try a contra strategy to Verstappen. Sainz
So Verstappen in the pits
there.
now.
Norris is already on wets. He doesn't have to come out again.
That's all in his boxed.
Right. We've made our decision. We've made our decision. Let's get the safety car round. Let's get the safety car round. There we go. We're collecting everybody. Are we going to get a finish here? is the question. Are we even going to get a finish? Is it going to be like a one-lap sprint? The track is now far too dry for wet weather tyres. Both of our cars have the wrong tyre on at this point. It is not full wet weather for this last lap sprint, which means our cars are going to struggle. Every other car's probably on the right tyre. Yes. Yes, indeed. We made the wrong call there. The Weather Forecast Centre not doing us any favours there. Oh, boy. We might finish behind the safety car at this rate. We've got 2 more laps. We've got 1 lap sprint. Are we going to finish behind the safety car even? We might finish behind the safety car. If the safety car doesn't pull in this lap. The safety car is not pulling in. We are finishing behind the safety car, which means that Hamilton is going to finish in P3. Norris...
So the safety car, the safety car is in this lap.
Pulls in for the finale. And we finish behind the bloody safety car, of all things. So after the drama of the race, Max Verstappen wins. He was the quickest car by a country mile, really. Full control of that one. Fastest lap as well. Carlos Sainz manages to get into second place due to the timing of pit stops and safety cars. Lewis taking the final podium position. And Lando Norris, unfortunately for him, the safety car came out at the wrong time. He finishes in P4. Hamilton finishing P3 despite crashing off the track and knocking his wing off. So the Drivers' Championship looks like this. It means that the championship is indeed now over. 52 points is the gap. There's only 26 points available with 1 race to go. The Constructors is a done deal too. So that's a double title for the McLaren team. There you go, folks. So that's the end of this series. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've given you all that have never watched F1 before some insight into the sport. Next session will be a slight short epilogue session for about 30 minutes, which I'll record on Friday probably and upload for Saturday. And it'll just be auto-resolving this last race so we can get all the fanfare that we need to celebrate our victories. I might even extend the epilogue to just give us a quick sample to where we are in terms of pace for next season. But yeah, well done. Potter strikes again. The team in orange, Phoenix Knights, in our hearts, has risen again from the ashes. So there you go. Lewis Hamilton, 8-time world champion. If only we could say that in real life. And McLaren, first Constructors title since 1999? Possibly. They won the Constructors in 99, didn't they? Or did they only win it in 98? They might have only won it in 98, you know. I think maybe Ferrari nipped it in 99. I could be wrong. But in 98 or 99, the last Constructors for them anyway. So there you go. It's racking my brains. They haven't won a Constructors title since 1998, have they? 99, 99. Hamilton won it, but then they got disqualified because of the Spygate stuff. So that doesn't count. They've not won it since then. Quite a long time. Anyway, there you go, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening, the rest of your week. Hopefully see some of you in the weekend for some Baldur's Gate, of course, and you'll get some recorded videos between now and then. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed the series, and yeah, until next time, Potter is retiring for now from F1 for a second time. Who knows? He may be back. See you soon. And thanks for the spoiler, whoever the hell you were. Greatly appreciated. Twat.